Final playoff spot in the Western Conference up for grabs between the Pelicans and Clippers. The big story for L.A. Star Paul George tested positive for COVID-19. Will miss tonight's game. Bill, who's got to step up in PG-13's absence?
Yeah, I mean, this is the key to the game, is the fact, frankly, that Paul George isn't out there. Reggie Jackson's got to be the guy and take over this game. And we've seen him do this. Paul George has obviously missed significant time this year, and they've been pretty impressive relative to what we thought they'd be without their star player. But the other key for me is in the three-point shooting, especially missing PG. Just a few stats for you. This Pelicans team, they're bad defensively. They're atrocious, 26 in the NBA at defending the three. And the Clippers have the third best three-point percentage in the association. They don't take enough three-point shots. But a few weeks ago, when they crushed these guys by 18 points in a big regular season game, on that night, the Clippers were incredibly efficient. They've got to hit threes. They've got to take more threes. They've got to take advantage of a Pelicans team that don't defend particularly well on the perimeter.
How will this game be decided, aside from three-point shooting?
I think the decision is going to be on whether or not CJ McCollum continues to be a superstar. That might be a little strong. Whether he's capable in this kind of a matchup of being the best player on the floor. I thought he would be before Paul George went down to this COVID protocol. If CJ McCollum, and they are a well better than 500 team, Akeem, since he got traded to New Orleans. They would be in the playoffs this season if the same winning percentage played out, if he'd been there the entire season. CJ McCollum has a great game. There's no counterweight to that, with all respect to Reggie Jackson. Not at the level McCollum can go to. If he's the guy he's been for New Orleans, I think they win this thing.
Pelicans got to this point without Zion Williamson. Instead, it's been a healthy dose of Brandon Ingram. And as you mentioned, CJ McCollum, who was acquired at the trade deadline. The matchup here, CJ McCollum, who's going to stop this guy?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, I don't know. Paul George is the best perimeter defender. He's the guy that had to get out there and do that. And as they know, as the Clippers have learned, there's a reason you want a guy like Patrick Beverley out there. One of the things that made the Clippers elite, or potentially elite, before Kawhi Leonard got hurt in the last few years when they were together, and even frankly before PG and Kawhi Leonard, was they were always incredible defensively on the perimeter. They've let that go a little bit. They're not quite as good. Reggie Jackson will be a part of those defensive opportunities. But the fact is, they don't have the defensive presence that they need without Paul George. I know we talk about Paul George as a scorer, and he is. He's one of the best two-way players in the game, and the lack of his presence for the Clippers defensively is a major problem.
So you think him in the fourth quarter could be the difference in this game?
Yeah, I do. And I thought you and I were going to have a whole conversation about it's going to come down to Paul George versus CJ McCollum, who's going to be better in the fourth quarter, and I was going to take CJ McCollum. Look, I know that the line is shifted. I know we're going to talk bets later. I like the Pelicans before PG was ruled out, because I think they're the more talented basketball team. I think there's a hunger there, and I think you've seen in McCollum the opportunity, the relief you see in him, the joy, with no disrespect to Damian Lillard, to be the guy. Yeah, I don't see a counterweight to what he can do on the Clippers side, and obviously they're missing a lot of offense from PG.
All right, Pelicans won 3 of the 4 meetings during the regular season. Going to look to make this one count and try to earn that 8th seed in the Western Conference, a date looming with the Phoenix Suns, whoever advances. Tonight's game set to tip off 10 Eastern time from Los Angeles. Again, the winner will face the 1-seed Suns in the first round. That series set to begin on Sunday. Kenny White back with us. Final playoff spot in the Western Conference up for grabs between the Pelicans and Clippers. The big story for L.A., Paul George tested positive for COVID-19. He will miss tonight's game. Meantime, Pelican star C.J. McCollum predicting, quote, a lot of winning in our future, end quote. New Orleans is a 1-point favorite. Bill, what are you predicting? Winning?
I mean, I loved the Pelicans +4 when I loved them when we thought Paul George was playing. And I know that's a big swing. What is it, -1 now, 5-point swing? But Paul George is so critical to what they do. We've talked about CJ McCollum and the presence he is for that team and the way that he brings out the best. And I think some of those other guys like Brandon Ingram, who are good but aren't the guys, aren't the leaders. And without Zion, they needed somebody. I love the Pelicans in this. Absolutely love the Pelicans in this game as a pick 'em, which is where I got them, or -1 where they are now.
All right. So, Kenny, Bill likes Pelicans -1. What do you like in this game?
Well, I did take the Pelicans plus the 4 early on and got lucky now that Paul George is out, so I got a really good number on them. But I still do like them at this number at pick or -1. This is a very good team. They started the season 3-16. That's what the Pelicans started the year, 3-16, and they really pulled things together. And that's without Zion Williamson. Where would this team been if Zion would have actually played this year? They've been very good defensively as of late. The Clippers, that's what they rely on, is defense. Again, 2 below-average teams in pace. So I'm also under the total. Much better bet, I think, right now than the side. Under 215.5. The Pelicans this year, 26-15 to the under in their road games.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.